All right. Welcome to Hell No podcast. I'm Nas. That's Amir. I'm the father. He's the son.
Sir.
We're going to cover a multitude of topics, primarily Saints because we're big Saints fans. And we're going to touch on a little bit of everything as far as sports goes. But big UFC card last night. What did you think of the outcome of the UFC card?
Uh, that was insane. I don't think anybody saw that going the way it did. If you want, we can start from the start of the card and move our way on up. Uh,
We can. I don't. The start of the card really, Dukakis and those
Diego
other cards are not.
Lopez.
Touch on O'Malley. We can touch on Pokit. We can touch
Yeah.
on definitely Potan and Serial Gan, and definitely the Ilya Topora.
Matador
Just
goes down.
I like Gaethje. He lived up to his name. So let's go with O'Malley. Made himself relevant again. Put himself back in the title picture. What'd you see? What'd you like?
Um, Zahabi was like O'Malley said in his post game or post fight interview. He was just throwing those little leg kicks, and it didn't seem like they were doing much. And O'Malley said they weren't doing much. And once he got close enough to strike, O'Malley did what he does. That went about as expected.
O'Malley didn't take him serious. He knew what he was gonna do. Zahabi is kind of like an inflated name because his brothers are a coach. He was a coach at one time, and I think he started 1 and 2 in the UFC in his career, and he decided to go into coaching. He beat a couple of names, but those names like were older. They weren't relevant. They didn't present any different danger to him to make him a title contender. Where O'Malley has fought the best of the best in the class. And his most recent defeats were Binta Marab, who's a mauler.
Yep.
And that's kind of played a part in O'Malley's, trajectory going up and then down. And now he's back up again. So I didn't take Zahabi too serious. I didn't think he was a formidable opponent for O'Malley. But O'Malley did what he's supposed to do. He did light work of a guy that really wasn't supposed to be in the ring with him. Period. Point blank. End of story.
Yeah,
So
that's very well said. What's next for O'Malley? Is it Jan, or are they going to give Marab Jan and O'Malley
no,
just
100%
waits?
it's Jan. 100% it's Jan. The UFC wants it to be Jan. Um, Unfortunately, Marab is on the outside looking in because O'Malley displayed what the UFC wanted him to display, which is a dominant performance. He does have, history with Jan, and Jan wants that fight, and I think the UFC wants that fight. It's a big money fight. Marab is not a big money fight, regardless of his status. Marab doesn't draw the fans into the seats in the viewership. Peter Yan, O'Malley does that for the UFC.
Yeah.
So you see the UFC making that later on in the summer or fall, making it a big card and building it around O'Malley Yan as the main event. So I think O'Malley did himself justice and earned himself a lot of money in the process. So that's what's next for O'Malley. Zahabi is just in the rearview mirror. He may never get this shot again in his life. Matter of fact, he will never get this shot again in his life because he's not relevant enough to do that. He can't show up on a big stage, on a big card, and your highlight is inside leg kicks. That's just not going to move it. He didn't land a significant shot to O'Malley whatsoever. I mean, he didn't disrupt one phone roll in his head.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be on UFC fans' radar if you don't come in there and disrupt the status quo of O'Malley. O'Malley was just toying with him, and I think that Zahabi kind of blew his shot at superstardom. If he would have done anything remotely close to what anybody in the last 3 fights that O'Malley has fought, He would have earned himself a big payday, but he's done. He's gone. O'Malley is on the up and up. But I mean, the UFC knows that. Um, Another guy on the up and the up, controversial guy.
Hoke.
Josh Hope.
Yeah. Uh,
So
Derek Lewis has been way over the hill for a little minute. His conditioning has just been bad. He was he looked bad when he fought. Who did he fight? Was it Tuivasa he fought last, or he
he
fought
fought.
somebody else? He fought.
I,
It doesn't
it
matter.
honestly,
He was.
it really doesn't matter. The only reason he's on the card is because Donald Trump called Dana and said, "Why is Derek Lewis not on the card?" Well, the reason he wasn't on the card is because he hasn't been relevant for the
Yeah.
last few fights. He quit on every single fight, the last 3 fights that he's had, and he just looks out of shape. He looks gassed, and he looks like he's a shell of himself. And everybody's gonna tune in because he has that one, or he had that one punch knockout. He doesn't even throw that punch anymore.
No.
He threw maybe 2 or 3 of them yesterday, and that was from like a Hail Mary position from his ankles, hoping he would land. And if any competent fighter gets in there with him, all they got to do is throw a stiff jab, and he's on his butt.
Yeah.
So, Hokit, on the other hand, is a young up and coming guy who talks a lot of trash, says a lot of things that people don't agree with. But he's relevant. You don't get in there and go toe to toe with Curtis Blades, who's been in the UFC for a long time, and I mean, stand there and throw toe to toe, fist for him, and he's a wrestler. So he wanted to show his stand up, and he did. How long is he going to last in the UFC? I don't think long. I think once he comes across the right person that's going to connect on him, he's going to learn to kind of go back to his chalupa ways and, ora levato his way out.
What's next for him then? Who's the next fight for him?
They can go all kind of ways. I mean, right now it's going to be, the heavyweight is going to be predicated on what Tom Aspinall can do next. That's going to be the fight to make, considering the eye poke that came with Cyril Gane the last time they met. If Aspinall wants to fight, it's Cyril Gane's world right now. The way
the clip, Cyril, he was watching the fights, and Cyril Gane called him out and was like, "Yeah, let's do it in Paris." And Aspinall was like, "I'm ready. Let's do it. Paris, September. I'm ready. I'm doing it."
that's the fight. The UFC wants it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why Cyril Gane. The only person that shouldn't want it right now is Tom Aspinall.
Yeah.
Considering the way Cyril Gane looked, as dominant of a victory that he had over, even though he's a light heavyweight and he put on weight to come up, you're still dealing with heavyweight punches, heavyweight power, and everybody slept on Cyril Gane. I mean, they've been sleeping on Cyril Gane for a while. Just because John Jones ran through him in 15 seconds,
Yep.
that was just luck, bad luck for him. He fell backwards into the cage, and you don't do that against John Jones.
That's luck. I just think that's how good John Jones is.
Yeah, he is, but I think it was unlucky for him to fall backwards like that into the cage, and John took advantage of it.
Yeah, true.
I think if it was a fight, I think the outcome would be a little bit different. But you know what? That's history now. So we move on. John Jones is not relevant. John Jones won't be fighting. Cyril Gane will be fighting Tom Aspinall, and I feel sorry for Tom Aspinall.
Really? So you're gone all the way when they make that fight.
I don't think it's a match. I think Aspinall's too flat-footed, and Cyril Gane is an athlete. He can move, he can punch, he can kick. I mean, he is what the UFC eventually expected him to be. He's showing up now, and he's showing out. So, I mean, yeah, I think Aspinall is. I don't think it's a match.
I don't know. I may disagree with you. I think that'd be a good fight, but let's take it into what you see in the Poatan Gane fight. Like, personally, Poatan is not a heavyweight, and he proved he doesn't need to be fighting at heavyweight. It just the odds for that fight were messed up anyways. I mean, for Poatan to be the favorite that he was.
I mean, he wasn't really a big favorite. It was
He
almost
wasn't a
even.
huge favorite, but he was. He was a favorite.
It was even at fight time, so it could have gone either way. But still, I mean, heavyweight power is heavyweight power. He's a
Yeah.
light heavy. I mean, he's really a middleweight
He's a
that moved up.
middleweight. Yeah.
So he can make his mark at light heavyweight. Those
Yep.
guys he can run through. I mean, you can go up to 205 pounds and still have your power. And he's always had power more than the rest of the guys at his division anyway.
Mhm.
Always been much bigger. I mean, you cut weight and then you show up at fight night and you're 200 plus pounds, you're gonna have an advantage every time. He's just not a heavyweight.
Mm-mm.
He won't make that heavyweight.
Mm-mm.
That's just be good, interesting match would be Hogan against Pereira.
Well, that's what I was about to get to. Is I mean,
But that Hogan Pereira would be an intriguing fight. Like I think he could handle Hogan too,
he needs to drop back down.
but
I
he's
could.
not a heavyweight. So
You think he gets Olberg next? Gets another
uh,
title fight?
yeah, he's not. I mean, he's gonna get a title fight. He's too big of a name.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's not gonna get a title fight right away. He'll go through someone else and whoever's relevant and wherever they can make a fight where Poatan is gonna get. Poatan's he's got a big following. He's been I mean, he's done so much in such little time. Everybody knows who he is, and the UFC is gonna want him relevant anyway. That's just the way it is with fighting.
Yep.
But that's the way it is. Unfortunately, he went up and he got
Chopped
sent
down.
out packing.
And much like probably the biggest superstar in the UFC right now, unreal fight, unreal performance by Justin Gaethje. For I mean, Ilya in the first, I said it after the first round, that looked like the most damage Ilya had ever taken. He was bleeding from his eye, and Gaethje said something in his post-fight interview that I thought like it was exactly what I was thinking. Everybody was thinking. He had Ilya bleeding 2 minutes into the fight, and Ilya couldn't stop wiping his face like he had never bled before.
Because he broke his audible bone in the first round. That thing became burgundy, not red.
Oh, that was both of them.
So
I mean, his facial structure was changed.
right away, I think honestly, I think the fight was won before the fight even started. Ilya backed himself into a corner. That's what happens when you get too cocky. You get
Way
humbled.
too cocky.
Okay, so I
Way too
mean,
cocky.
first of all, if you look at the dynamics, and I was preaching it all week, the bigger man was Gaethje
Yeah,
coming
we're
in.
saying that.
And you ask anybody that's fought in that division who has hit them the hardest, from Khabib to Poirier to anybody to Charles, they'll tell you the hardest hitter is Gaethje.
Yep.
They underestimate his punching power, but when he hits you, it's just a different type of hit. And if he connects, you're in trouble. The biggest mistake I think in the fight is when Ilya hit him with the body shot and dropped him.
He went to the ground.
He went to the ground and he tried for submissions.
He tried to
You
submit him the same way Khabib did.
have the advantage. Tell him to get back up, and he would have probably finished him because John was hurt so bad. He said it after the fight. He said that my liver still hurts from that liver shot. He's so fast. He's so quick. I couldn't understand why he jumped on him. He tried to do several submissions. I mean, Justin is not a beginner on the ground to begin with. I mean, he's not the best of grapplers, but he's competent enough to know when a submission is coming. And where is Ilya's power? Ilya's power is standing up.
Yep.
On the ground and then throwing. He had him hurt. Back off, let him stand up, and then reassert yourself with your dominant performance. But once he got tagged and he got hit and he realized that he's in there with somebody, And he had already backed himself in the corner saying that he was going to finish him in the first round, and he had a special rose waiting for him. Not against. You're not going to finish Justin
He
Gaethje in the
messed
first
up
round.
before that. Like, I understand saying all that, but where he messed, first of all, the night before the fight, doing a celebratory victory dinner before you even get in the ring with him.
Well, I mean, he's done that. He's done that every time against everybody. He's done that against Charles. He did it against Max. So if that's what gets you up and that's what works for you, it's been working for him. It was only right that he does that. I'm not mad at that. I'm mad at the fact that you're disrespecting a guy that's been so dominant in his class, saying you're going to finish him and knock him out in front of his mom and his dad in the first round in his own country. I don't know. I mean, just the walkout for Justin Gaethje with the flag. And if you were filming a movie, you wouldn't need more than one take.
Yeah.
That was so classic of him coming out with the flag, looking at all the presidents, and kind of knowing that I'm coming in here to fight for something bigger than myself.
Yeah.
Usually it takes multiple takes for a movie set to get that, like, okay, that's the shot. And that was the shot for him. He knew coming out that, you know what? This is my chance to get this once in a lifetime unique 250 anniversary belt that's specially made for this card and take it home and shut this little guy up. He's 5'7". I'm 5'11". I've been in multiple wars, and I'm going to go ahead and use my experience to my advantage. And he did. And he surprised a lot of people. I wasn't shocked. I was surprised. I wasn't shocked. Like, I knew. I've been telling people all week, Justin Gaethje's got a real shot. Like, he can hit him. You know, the fact that this is the first time I've ever seen a 5-round fight where the over and under was 1.5. It's never 1.5 on a 5-round fight. Typically, it's 3.5, 4.5. On a 5-round fight for a belt, it was 1.5 rounds. That's how much hype Ilya had behind him.
Yep.
So,
I mean, deservedly so. He's just been running through everybody that's come across him. But I wouldn't say I was 100% surprised that Gaethje won. I wasn't completely shocked. I was more shocked at how he won. How battered and bruised Ilya was. Like, Ilya looked like a different person. He was like, and then to retire on the stool, Ilya, like, is not somebody I would think is gonna not finish a fight. Now, granted, like, it was his team waving it off, but I mean, we all heard the clip. His brother says we're gonna finish this fight, and the team calls it off.
the doctor called it off in the fourth, and
that's where it should have ended. He should have let it end.
Third round. The doctor called it off.
Yep.
The doctor called it off, but they said he's an inexperienced doctor, and it's for a championship belt, and it's for a title. And the ramifications just didn't. They wanted the guy to go out on his shield, but he couldn't see.
No.
That usually means there's bleeding behind the orbital bone, and if the guy can't see, that means that blood is coming in that to the point where his vision is completely blurred.
Yeah.
To his credit, I thought he fought a great fourth round.
He did.
I thought he came back and actually asserted himself again on just will, and got Justin down on the mat and almost had some ground and pound. And I thought he kind of almost won the fourth round. Like, the finishing shot was the knee to the body.
It was the knee to the body.
Okay, when he had him hunched over and he dug that knee in his rib cage and his elbow went directly there. And if you go back and look at that fight, Ilya got up. He was struggling. Justin was still on the mat.
Yeah.
He was just as tired.
Yeah.
He was just like, what do I have to do to get rid of this guy? But by the time he made it to the stool, you could tell something was wrong. He hunched over and he couldn't get up. It might be a broken rib. We don't know yet, but he was to the point where his brother saw that, he coming to the corner. He said, "Oh, we're not stopping the fight. We're not stopping the fight." When he sensed that his brother can't go anymore, he just had to stop the fight.
Yeah.
And if you look at him, he looked like he was in a head-on collision in a car accident, and his face went straight through the windshield. That's how he looked, and that's how Justin Gaethje makes you look whenever he gets a
He
chance to
couldn't
pound.
defend the jab. Like that jab was getting through every single time. And you know what? Ilya came out looking like the game plan was no matter what, I'm gonna knock him out in the first 2 rounds, and I don't have to worry about any of the fight beyond that. And I'm gonna absolutely outpower him. That he can't match with me. He overlooked Gaethje as an opponent. That's just plain and simple.
He
And
overlooked, underestimated him. He thinks
yep,
he's 30 years old. He's past his prime. He got slept by Max Holloway. I slept Max Holloway. No one has ever slept Max Holloway. I slept Charles Oliveira. No one's ever slept Charles Oliveira. I knocked out Volkanovski. No one's ever knocked out Volkanovski the way I did. And he came in there thinking, you know what? This guy's 38 years old. I'm going to do the same thing to him.
yeah, and it didn't go that way. Now what's next for Ilya?
Ding, ding. Ilya? I don't know. Surgery,
He said he won't need
reconstruction.
surgery today.
Oh, well, that's good. I mean, then that means he's gonna come back a lot sooner than if he had needed surgery. But he's got to go back to the drawing board, and work his way up. I mean,
He's gotta quit now. Honestly, I don't think that loss is the worst thing in the world for him. It's a make or break loss. That loss is either gonna make him as a great fighter and define his choose whatever he does after that will define his legacy, or that is the kind of fight and that is the kind of knockout that just breaks a fighter and he just won't be able to get back to what he was. Now I don't think that's the case for Ilya, but I
he'll
mean,
be better. He'll be better for it. But I think everyone knows now that what, survive the first round with Ilya, and then
where's
he's gonna
out?
tire out.
Yeah,
And if you survive the first round, the power diminishes by 50%, maybe 40%. You could deal with that. You're fighting the top of the top once you get Ilya at like 40, 50% less than what his normal, fighting optimal first round knockout type charge. But I think Ilya, he still has the quickness and the power no one else has in that division. And I think he's going to be right back on top. Justin may retire,
yeah,
and I
I
would
think he
not blame
should.
him one bit. You retire on top. You don't need to take any more damage. You take 2 belts and you go home, and your bank account is fat. Your legacy is secured.
Yep.
You made the statement of a lifetime. You have nothing to prove to anybody. You beat the baddest guy in the division on the biggest stage in a unique environment, unlike any other. Why would you not just kind of say, all right,
Yeah.
I'm done?
Charles called him out today. Did you see Ilya's message that he put out?
No, I saw something. I didn't read it. I really didn't have a chance to look at any of
I'll
that
read it
stuff.
for you. He said, "Justin, congratulations. You said you'd leave your mark on my face, and you did. You took the sight from my right eye in the first round, and by the end of the second, from my left too. No excuses. I had one of the best camps of my life. I came in sharp, prepared, and ready. Last night was your night. That's the nature of this game. Glory and pain walk side by side. I'll heal, I'll rest, and I'll return stronger, wiser, and far more dangerous. And trust me, this story between us is far from over. We will have our rematch." I don't know if you will, Ilya.
I
He
don't think
doesn't
he
need to
will.
rematch you.
I think the key word in that whole statement he put out is probably wiser, because he'll learn to
Oh,
shut his mouth
yes.
up and
100%.
come up and fight and not talk trash and put yourself in a corner. It's something to be said about wanting to knock somebody out in the first round, and when that first round is over, you feel somewhat deflated. Like, okay, you know what? Damn, I didn't do it in the first round. Like I said, I talked all that crap about, knocking him out in front of his country, his family, and I didn't deliver. You just don't do that.
No.
It's the fight game. Anything could happen. I mean, the guy's nickname is the Highlight.
Yep.
It wasn't by accident. He didn't get that name because he thought it was a good, catchy name. It's because when he showed up, he delivered, and he damn right he delivered. He delivered every time. And you can ask everyone that's fought him. I mean, Gaethje is that guy. Look, they asked Habib, "What's the hardest you've ever been hit?"
Gaethje.
And he said, "Justin Gaethje,
Yep.
point blank."
Shows you how good Khabib is because he made easy work of Gaethje.
I love what you call it though. Arman Sarukian has been back and forth with Ilya
Yeah.
for the 2
He
years,
said he's buying Gaethje a Ram truck.
but his buddy put $1 million bet on Gaethje.
Yep. I probably paid out a lot of money.
Paid out a lot of money. And his tweet right after the fight was Ilya no mas Topuria.
Yeah, because he said no more.
So he didn't want no more. So
I mean, same with Islam. Islam was like, you wanna say all this about what you're gonna do to me?
be humble.
So does Ilya stay in the lightweight division? I mean, you can tell he's
Yeah.
a completely different fighter in the featherweight. Nobody can match him.
No. There's nobody else that can do that to him in that division.
In
And
lightweight?
Justin is just a different animal. I mean, he's just a different animal. Like, I mean, Ilya will run through anybody else. Like, no one else in that division will scare him to the point like no one hits like Gaethje, man. No one rocks you like Gaethje. You know, I mean, he did that in the first round. He didn't do it over a span of 4 rounds. He did that in the first round. Like, I mean, in the third round, in the beginning of the third round, he hit him with a jab and then an overhand right that buckled him to the point. And when he got up, his other eye was
that's when the eye was done.
completely shattered when he got up. I was like, wow, this dude. I mean, he went down to a makeup artist in like 2 seconds and came back up and looked like a whole different person.
Yep.
So yeah, Ilya stays there. Ilya dominates again. You know, he just needs to shut up and fight. You know, and like when he came up, you know, he wasn't saying anything. He let his fist do the talking. But I mean, there's a lot of fights to make for him. You know, it's not like there's no fights. He's just got to heal up.
No, I mean, like I said, if he drops down to featherweight, you get him in Volk too, which could be interesting. He can stay in lightweight and potentially fight Arman. It's Arman's time to get a title shot.
The problem with Arman, the UFC don't like him, Dana doesn't like him, and Ilya doesn't like him.
Yeah.
He's for some reason, I don't know what he did. He did something to get under Dana's skin, or just because he comes from a rich family and he flaunts it like he doesn't need fighting, but he still fights. But Ilya's been ducking Arman. Arman's been calling him out for a long time. Like, you know, and Ilya is like, I'm not going to give you the opportunity. So he says Arman doesn't deserve the opportunity. Well, guess what? Now the opportunity is there. So, you know, there's some backstories to it. There's some bad blood behind it. Whether Dana wants to make it happen or not, I think it's good for the UFC. And I think Arman deserves it. I mean, he's earned it. It's not like he just showed up and says, I want a title fight. It doesn't even have to be a title fight now. That's the crazy thing.
Well,
it could be one of those.
Were to retire, Ilya would be the interim champion of lightweight still, right?
No.
No?
They'll make an interim fight for that. They can't. They don't make somebody.
Belt?
Yeah, there'd be a vacant belt, and somebody will have to fight for it. The same way that just happened with Aspinall. Yeah, like Poatan and Cyril Gane fought for the interim belt because they stripped it from Aspinall because he was inactive, and so it's like him retiring. Eventually, somebody's got to fight for it. So that was the interim heavyweight title fight because Aspinall couldn't fight. So it's the same way, you know. I mean, they're just not going to give the belt back to Ilya. Ilya's got to earn it. Yeah. You know, so it wouldn't take him much, you know, but he's going to need to go back to the drawing board and come back up the rankings again, whether it's to fight Arman again, Volk, There's a couple fights to be made. I think the UFC will figure it out. But all those guys are sitting pretty right now because of that loss. So,
It changes a lot.
yep. So good fight, good card. Wasn't a great card. I mean, good.
Knockouts galore. No.
Every fight ended in a
Every
knockout.
fight was a knockout.
A
And
technical
it
knockout.
looked like every fight was about to be a first round knockout for a while.
It was for a while.
Um,
I
but
mean, the
it
only
looked
one
up.
I think O'Malley went to 2 rounds. Um,
Gane
yeah,
went
every fight.
two, I think.
Who?
Cyril Gane and Pereira went two, and
Yeah,
then
they went two.
the other one
Bo,
went four,
Bo Nick, yeah. So
almost five.
it really should have been three, but
It should that.
I mean,
And you know what? If the doctor stops that fight, that bodes so much better for Ilya. I think it looks better to get stopped by the doctor than to retire on your stool.
yeah. I mean, it's a title fight though, man. It's the main
Yeah, you
event.
can't stop it that way. That's what I texted you. You can't stop it right here. But
Have the doctor interject himself in it and say, "I think they should stop."
no.
This is an event that people tuned in for. Like, you let the guy go out on his shield, and if the corner wants to stop it, like they did, then they'll stop it.
Yep.
You know. But I thought giving them that other round, I thought was the right thing, and I think Ilya deserved, showed that he deserved that fourth round, and he came out and fought his tail off in the fourth round, even though he couldn't see. He was bloodied and battered, and still showed out a little bit, to the point where he almost won that round. So
He will be back, I'd say.
back, big UFC card, successful card, but that's all for the UFC.
Yeah.
So
On to your new 2026 NBA World Champions, the New York Knicks. The Nova Knicks get it done in 5. Um, Before we talk about the Knicks, let's talk about the Spurs. Uh, I'll start with my biggest thing for them. Everybody's hating on De'Aaron Fox, and probably deservedly so. Mitch Johnson, what are we doing? That was a horrible coaching performance from a guy who just won Coach of the Year and is touted as this next up and coming young rising coach. That was terrible. It was like you lost the game. I'll give you 3. I'll say you lost it 3 times the same way, but really it was all 5. You were up by like at least 16 points in every single game.
yeah, there's no substitution for experience.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, I mean, the guy is a first year head coach, coach of the year. I mean, you have a stellar roster, okay?
Yeah,
And they outperformed and they're ahead of the pace of where they're supposed to be for as young as they are, which is the reason the coach of the year landed in your lap, you know? But, you know, some of these coaches that have been coaching for a long time, you know, the experience that you need in a playoff cooker, especially when you're in Madison Square Garden and all these venues, you can't replicate the experience that these guys get. You got to know when to call a timeout. You
yeah,
got to know when to kind of gather your troops again and say, hey, look, they went on a run. Let's buckle down. Let's focus on rebounding. Let's focus on our defense. And then let's not waste any possessions going forward. You got to know when to do that. If you don't know when to do that in the playoffs, your team is going to be a reflection of you. They're going
hmm
to be lost on the court because they have no guidance from the sidelines.
no,
That showed. That showed from the players to the coaches all the way down to the assistants because there wasn't anybody competent enough on that roster to say, hey, Mitch, we need a timeout.
nope.
Hey, Mitch, right now.
Or you
So,
just need to make a sub like okay, the 29-point blown lead, ridiculous. But at what
inexcusable.
point do you realize like, hey, I've got nothing but 20 and 21-year-olds on the court and 25-year-olds. At that point, like I would have brought in, like, you know what? You're up 29 points. It doesn't hurt to bring in like Harrison Barnes, who's got like championship experience and playoff a huge playoff resume, just to kind of ease the ship. But instead, like I don't even know how you let the Knicks did it. Like kudos to the Knicks because they did it exactly how you're supposed to do it. You chip away, you chip away, you chip away. You turn 29 into 23, and 23 goes to 16, and 16 gets to 11. And by the time it's 11 with 7 minutes left, that's nothing. You turn 11 into 4, and it's a 4-point game with 4 minutes left.
The most dangerous thing in sports is something outside of the physical ability. It's momentum.
Yeah.
When a team gets momentum and a team harnesses that momentum and it becomes infectious all the way around, whether it's football, basketball, any team sport, you can't stop that momentum. And once they built up momentum, then the fans got into it and they realized, oh, we're 20, we're not 30 down. Oh, you look up, we're 15 points down. We still got 6 minutes left. Oh, we're 9 points down, and they have no direction of where they're going. So, I mean, there's a couple of times in that game where they had blown leads. They were just going down and chucking up threes.
Yeah. I mean,
You
Wemby,
have
like,
had 7'5" on your
and
roster.
he's sitting on the perimeter trying
Okay,
catch and shoot threes.
he has no business being outside of the paint. None. Like you throw it to him, throw it 10 feet up, and let him at least jump up. He's gonna get fouled, and he may even tip it in as skilled as he is and get an and one. I think it was just a poor execution on their parts and very, very poor coaching on his behalf to the point where I mean they'll learn from it. They're young enough. Every team, that ends up being a champion eventually, goes through somebody that makes it difficult for them. But they have a young enough roster to the point where they'll be back, they'll be good. All this experience is going to show, you know, in the years to come. And they're only gonna get better. They're
Yeah.
that young. I mean, you know, give it to the Knicks. It was their time. They played together as a team. I
Very.
can't stand the Knicks. I can't stand their fans in general, just because it's like they're annoyed.
It's
You
extra.
know,
But
yeah,
at the end of
yeah,
the day, they had a killer roster. They had a great team.
great roster, great.
They had a great coach who did dirty in Sacramento, and
About a great coach, but he's a good coach.
he's a good coach. I mean, he got the most out of those guys, and they
Yeah,
have
I
a
mean,
great leader, Jalen Brunson. It can't be denied anymore. Like everybody says, everybody's better than Jalen Brunson until it's time to be better than Jalen Brunson. And Brunson showed Wemby up in this series. And honestly, kind of similarly to how we talked about Ilya Taporia earlier, I think Wemby overlooked the Knicks. After they won that Thunder series, he looked like he just won a world championship. He
mm,
was very emotional, like crying on the floor. You would think he just won the championship in 7 in a double overtime game.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I don't know if he overlooked them. It's hard. It's kind of tough to overlook somebody that made it to the finals.
I
You
mean,
know,
yeah,
I
but
think he in the back of his mind he knew they had the interior advantage. Considering Cat likes to play on the outside, and Mitchell Robinson is really not a dominant offensive scorer. He's a rebounder. So I thought he coming in, he thought maybe that we definitely have the pieces to play with them.
yeah,
Um, I think their downfall is when they let that game get away from them at home in game one, and then they came back in game two
and
and
threw
laid
it
an
away.
egg.
Wemby threw it away.
Yeah, Wimby threw that to the back of Castle, and that was the end of that. But there's so many opportunities they could have had they didn't capitalize on. The advantages and disadvantages of the roster, the lineups, they could have played, but you can't take it from the Knicks. I
Nope.
mean, they They,
They
as a
won.
team, played. They went out and took it. It's not like somebody gave it to them. Nobody lets you come back from 30 points down. They had to make shots,
Yeah.
and they made shots. I mean, just like the tip in with Ananobi, like you got your 7'5" guy playing out on the perimeter. What idiot does that? You put him
Exactly.
down the basket and you secure the rebound, or you just block it towards midcourt. Game's over. You win the game. You have momentum. Going back home just doesn't.
Yeah,
It did not.
I didn't like Wemby after they blew the lead and they're down 3-1. They're like, okay, like how do you recoup after this? And he's like, his exact quote was, uh, everybody knows we're gonna do it. Like we're gonna win this series and everybody knows we're going to do it. Like, and then you go lose because you blew another lead. You can't do that. You can't
Mhm.
talk all this talk and then fall on your face. He's young, he'll learn. It is what it is. Um, but I mean, it's not a guarantee they get back. How many amazing players do we
But
know got to the finals early and then they just
yeah,
didn't
they'll
get
be
back?
back though.
They'll be
They
back. I think they'll be back, but
they'll be back. I mean,
it's
they
not a
they just have
guarantee.
good young pieces not to be back. Um,
What do they do
yeah,
with the Fox contract? Because Fox's extension kicks in, and it's about to be $60 million a year for the next 4 years.
Fox is gone.
Who's gonna take him?
I don't know who's going to take him, but he's gone.
I
Like
don't.
you got to play Harper and you got to play Castle, man. You can't keep those guys on there.
You
You can't
shift
come
one
up.
of them to the 2 and one of them to the 3.
So yeah, I mean, you can't. And not just that, you can go out and get you a backup. That's going to be cheaper than that and more competent. But Fox, he just to me doesn't fit in that whole configuration of a young squad. You know, it costs too much money. Plus, you want to bring in a guy that's gonna grow with these guys. And eventually,
Well, he
you know
fit
what?
before they luckily ended up with Dylan Harper.
Yeah, but I
I mean,
mean,
they needed a somebody to run the wall. Like that was a like. There's no knocking what the thought was at the time. Who knew they were going to luck into the second overall pick again right after landing the first and then the fourth or third, whatever Castle was. But
only as the Spurs can do.
yeah, and now they made a rule where you can't even do that anymore. You can't have top 5 picks in 3 years.
Mm.
Um,
They don't
but
need
they
it for
got
the years.
huh?
They won't need it for the next
Yeah,
15.
yeah. Like that was
They
their way of getting
capitalized on
everything.
it when they can, and now they'll just play by different rules for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, because they don't need it. They'll be a 60-win team.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
Staying in the NBA, the rumor mill is swirling of Giannis. Is he going to your Miami Heat? Is he going to Boston? There's a third team apparently that might take on Jaylen Brown. Could be the Pelicans, could be the Hawks, could be the Blazers, could be the Clippers. All options are on the table from what I've seen, what I've read.
so signs are pointing to him going to Miami.
And
Um,
Boston. It's been all Boston lately.
that's the hang up is you don't know if Milwaukee is satisfied with the compensation coming back. And I think what I read was Tyler Hero, Jaime Jaquez, um,
Khalil
Jovic,
Ware.
Khalil Ware, a first round pick, and a first round swap. So that's a lot of capital coming back. A lot of young guys too.
They want more picks.
I mean, you can't get half of the roster and want more
I
picks unless
agree.
unless you just don't like the roster that's coming back. And that's probably their thought process is we don't know what Jovic has. We don't know you know what Khalil Ware is gonna end up being. So you're really giving them Tyler Hero and Jaime Jaquez. But I mean, what else? What else is somebody going to give them other than Jaylen Brown?
That's the thing is none of those guys they be getting from the Heat or Jaylen Brown at all.
No, nobody's Jaylen Brown. I mean, Jaylen Brown is,
He's a top 15 player in the league. It's hard to
yeah.
find one of those.
I mean, hell, probably top 10. I mean, the guy was on a tear before Tatum
He was
decided
an
he wanted.
MVP candidate, so I'll give you
So,
that.
just don't roll out an average almost 28 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and become the second option.
And now, I mean, I was reading this earlier too, and it's kind of self-explanatory, but with all the trade rumors swirling about Jaylen Brown now, it's not ridiculous to think that he would ask out, even if he doesn't get traded for Giannis, just because he may
Yeah,
feel that he's
I think
unwanted.
I think that's run its course. Like,
Jaylen
you
Brown
know,
and the
yeah,
Jays.
yeah, just because every year it's the same story. You know, he obviously feels like they value Tatum more than they value him because it showed.
Yeah,
So, and I'm not disputing whether you do or you don't, or whether you should or you shouldn't. The fact is, he is a one. He's an option one that you can build a team around. And he's got to play second fiddle to a guy coming off a major surgery that you have to limit, his minutes, but you still interject him as the one until you absolutely don't have a choice. Oh, he's got fatigue leg or his ACL is sore. Put him on the bench. Hey, Jalen, we need you to be back in the alpha role now. I think that's run its course in Boston, and I think he's to the point where he's like, no, you know what? Get me out of here, and y'all can have your little squad here.
yeah.
Um, I think it's to the point where Jalen just doesn't want to be disrespected to the point where he wants his own lead role. Like, and he deserves to
He
have that.
deserves it. Yeah,
Earned it. He showed that he could do it. Um, he's a hell of a mismatch. I mean, tough to guard, tough
great
to kind
defensively.
of. So where he goes, I hope he comes to the Pelicans. I think
I'd be
that'd be
ecstatic.
that'd be a good option. But they, I don't know. You got to give up Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, and you know,
Picks.
you got to give up a lot. And
And probably DeJounte Murray,
yeah,
which I mean, I'd rather keep Murray, but it might be time to hand Fears the keys. Jeremiah Fears and he's been in the gym all off season, and he'll continue to be in the gym all off season, and I'm excited to see the sophomore leap that he takes. Staying on the Pelicans, Trey Murphy, it almost seems like it almost seems like he's out of here and he's getting dealt somewhere.
he's definitely out of there.
The
I don't
return
where
should be great.
Michael Bridges type.
Yeah. I mean, and
Yeah,
the two things that
that's-
have been consistent is the team's interested in them, and it's consistently been the Pistons and the Pacers. Um, the Pacers don't have the picks. The Pacers don't have picks they can trade, and they really don't have players that they can give New Orleans that would make a feasible package. The Pistons gets interesting because if Asar Thompson's on the table, and we know Jamal Mosley wants to play very defensively, he's made that very clear. If you can pull off like Asar Thompson, Duncan Robinson for shooting because the Pelicans need it, and then maybe picks, I don't know if I'm mad at that. And then you just have Asar Thompson shoot the ball 3,000 times a day in the gym.
yeah, he needs that.
A lot.
Yeah, and don't also forget that Joe Dumars was head of basketball operations in Detroit, and he played for Detroit.
I was about to say, and he won a championship in Detroit.
He has connections in
And
that front.
Troy Reaver was the Pelicans GM, and he drafted Trey Murphy.
Yeah, so there's some history there.
That's
Yeah,
a
it's gonna.
that's a hell of a defensive lineup if you can roll out like DeJounte Murray, uh, Herb Jones, and Asar Thompson.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think their glaring need is going to be center.
Oh,
You know,
big time. I mean, did you see the clip of Jeremiah Fears? Um,
about
they asked he was him and AJ DeBonsa were like talking trash to each other, and he was like, "Oh, y'all won like 20 games," and Jeremiah Fears was like, "We ain't have no bigs. What you want us to do?" And
you
it's
know,
kind of like, people read into it like, "Oh, is he taking shots at Derek Queen or?" No, because Derek Queen's a four. He's not a big, and he's Jeremiah Fears is absolutely right. The Pelicans didn't have any bigs capable of hanging with anybody else's centers night in
no.
night out. Now, that's not the only reason they lost 60 games, but
Yeah, you need a big man because that the rebounding is crucial when it comes to a young team and getting into your offense and making sure you have second chance opportunities. You can't just be a one possession team and then go back and expect the other team to heave up a shot, get a rebound, heave up a shot, get a rebound. You're giving up three possessions to one.
yeah,
You're not built for that yet.
no,
You don't have you know the horses to kind of run in that type of game. You need somebody that's going to give you multiple possessions, multiple times in a half, much less in a game. So uh, that would be priority one. They're going to play defense. They're going to learn to play defense. I can guarantee you that. Just because Mosley is going to instill that defense. Now he just needs the bodies to be able to do that. And you're going to need a big guy in the middle. You're
yep,
gonna need somebody who's gonna be athletic enough to be a rim protector and to get you rebounds. He doesn't necessarily need to be a scorer. He just needs to be a rebounder. You have enough scoring options on the team, minus the shooting on the outside. Outside of Trey Murphy, you can't you can't depend on one guy to get you outside shooting. You know, um, I mean, they drafted a guy, Jordan Howden, who was supposed to be a sniper from the outside, and he barely sees the court. Um, so yeah, you
I
need some
guess,
shooting. You need inside presence. But I don't know. We'll see what
and shooting, like you just
yeah,
said,
what shakes out with Giannis, Jaylen.
and
It's a bunch
Trey.
of off season. You know,
I
I
feel
mean,
like
they
we'll
might
know soon.
they might move Herb too.
Yeah, I feel like those dominoes will fall very quickly.
I don't
Probably
think
with
Herb anywhere. I think Herb is because he's pretty much what Mosley
I was
used
about to
to be.
say he's exactly what Mosley wants.
So in that, but that's what Mosley was. Mosley was a defensive big, on the outside perimeter defender, dog. So he's gonna like Herb being one of those lockdown guys, that he could put him there and forget him. You don't
Yeah,
have to keep this guy how to do X, Y, and Z. Now get the other guys to do half of what Herb does, then you got yourself a defensive minded team. So, but it'd be interesting to see what shakes down this summer with all these guys. I don't want to see Trey go. I don't want to see Herb go. But I'd rather see Trey go and get an influx of picks and bodies in here that are going to make the team better. Because ultimately, you just can't win from the outside by itself anyway. So,
yeah,
and you can probably find shooters, if you draft well and somebody lands in your lap. So, so I think to maximize Trey Murphy, you have to get the right bodies back when you make
yep,
that trade. You got to make sure you get a couple of players and picks. You don't necessarily want all the picks because all the picks usually don't all pan out. You know, but if you got a couple of proven veterans on the roster or guys that are up and coming that you can interject into your roster and kind of mold that team around them and have the luxury of three picks that you can either use for trade or you can use them to build your team going forward. I think Trey is going to be maximized in that sense to make sure that they get over that hump. But I see him going, but I see Herb staying. I hope that's
yeah.
the scenario.
I could see that.
But Jeremiah is definitely the real deal. Derek Queen, once he gets into shape and realizes how the NBA game flows and works, He's going to be a stud. I'm just glad that they made out on that pick instead of having it move up into where they would have gotten hurt. But you know, I mean, they essentially drafted Derek Queen this year, so
Yeah.
yeah, it didn't hurt him like everybody thought it was. So it kind of worked out. I think Derek Queen is a good pick. Jeremiah Fears is a great pick. If Zion can show up, and stay healthy, he's a difference maker. Um, they got a lot of good pieces. That's the thing. It's like it's not like they have bad pieces. They got good pieces. They just need them all to stay on the court.
Yeah.
And build around that. And then you got yourself people forget just a few years ago they were playing the Golden State Warriors in the first round.
No, I mean,
But
2 years ago, 3 years
yeah,
ago, we were playing OKC in the first round. We got
so
swept, but
they're not far off, and they just need to kind of make the right moves for the right people. That's all.
yeah, I agree. Um,
So I think that's enough on NBA. We've covered Giannis, we covered Jalen, we covered the Pelicans. We didn't say much about the Heat, but it's all good. We'll come back to the Heat. Um, but yeah, Saints
that's what we do it for.
2026.
So
So
mini camp starts tomorrow. OTAs just ended. I'm gonna start off. I want to start off with losing Alante Taylor. There's question marks about who would play that star role in the defense, and it seems like they found their answer very fast. It's going to be Jonas Sanker. They gave him a shot, and apparently he just took it over and has not let it go, and has looked really good from what we know. How do you feel about that?
I think they gave him the first shot, and he took it. But I think the good thing about this staff is what I've learned is they like to cross train guys in multiple positions just in case something happens. So I can see them definitely interjecting Blackman in there,
Yep.
interjecting Quincy Riley in there, interjecting Isaac Yedem in there just to get their feet in there. But I think it's going to come down to guys that are fast and playmakers. The guy I think that's everybody's not talking about right now, but I think eventually once training camp gets here,
Well, tell me the
uh,
rookie,
the rookie Lorenzo
Lorenzo
Styles,
Styles. Yeah.
I think because he possesses the same qualities as Alante. He's speed off the edge. He's a willing tackler. So you know how soon he can catch up to speed with that role. The thing they like about Jonas is Jonas came in and Jonas proved himself in his first year, so he's seen a lot of football, and he had first hand knowledge of what Alante did. They sat in the same room, they studied the same film, they saw the same concepts. So I think you know Jonas is going to get the first crack at it, but I think the X factor here is Julian Blackman being able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
I think if Julian Blackman is able to stay healthy and Justin Reed him man the back end, if Kool Aid takes that next step, and if Quincy Riley's the real deal to hold down the other end, then I think they're dealing with a very very competent back end. Um, what's going to tell me if they believe that or not is if they still are putting feelers out there looking for like the Kenny Moore type addition or
Yeah.
a veteran to kind of come in on the other side. We don't know. We'll know when camp starts. How they view these guys, but the fact that they didn't make many inquiries about guys like that. I think the kid that we drafted in the fifth round, I think from was it Wake Forest, TJ Hall,
7th round,
uh,
Iowa.
Iowa. I think he's a guy that's gonna make headlines in camp just because he's a thumper and he's got experience. He did 5 years. He doesn't miss many tackles. Um, and so he's played against some of the guys that came out in this year's draft. mean, so they got guys in the room that can be competent enough to play in this league and on that defense. So but yeah, the star role I think eventually comes down to Jonas Sanker and Julian Blackman. If they could find somebody else on the back end, I think.
Well, they said
But
they like having Blackman back. That's where they want him most is playing back, playing deep.
well, he's a ball hawk, so
Yeah,
they want turnovers.
yeah,
And so yeah, I mean, I think they'll cross train both of them, and they'll see at the end. By the time camp gets here, we'll have a clear vision of where Staley's thinking, where these pieces fall in place, and who gets to start here and who gets to start there. Um, the good thing is they have options. I don't think they're limited. I think they have options. Quincy Riley is kind of the intriguing one. Like, can he sustain and maintain what he started in year one, or is he going to have a sophomore slump where he kind of takes a step backwards? I hope that's not the case. I think he's competent enough to know, that a lot is riding on him on that side. If you got Kool-Aid, who looks like he's the real deal on that side, I think Quincy's going to get picked on a lot.
yeah.
Because he's going to be looked at as, well, where's the weak link? And usually defensive coordinators are not stupid. They usually attack the weakest link. I mean, that's just the nature of the business. You go after the guy that, I mean, for as good as Alante was, they knew they can always take advantage of Alante in coverage.
Yeah.
Defensive coordinators knew this around the league. And he gave up a lot of big plays, like over his head, you know. But I mean, nothing can replicate experience. And these guys came in year one and proved that they belonged, and got a lot of experience. So it's not like you're throwing them on the deep end from year one and say, hey, go ahead and swim. So we'll see. I think it's interesting.
Yeah. Um, we'll flip side of the ball. Um, Travis Achan apparently looks really good, and we found out that he was their number one target in free agency. He was the running back that they wanted, that they were targeting. So they obviously knew that he was the one that would fit in their system the most. What expectations would you say you have for Travis Achan this
They
year?
actually targeted two guys. They targeted a guard, and the number one guard on the market was David Edwards. And
Yep.
they targeted a running back, and their number one target was Travis Achan.
And they got
And
both
they
of them.
both.
Yep.
So, which is huge. I think the bigger ad is David Edwards.
I agree.
Because it solidifies the line and it opens up running lanes for your guys that couldn't find the running lanes last year. Now Travis Achan, I still gotta get used to saying that. Travis Etienne.
Achan.
He's Etienne to me. He's been Etienne for like 6 years,
Say that man name.
okay. So
He gonna
all
tell
of a
you,
sudden
hell no.
he's like, yeah, everybody in my hometown, they call me A-Chain, okay, Travis A-Chain. He really typically doesn't need a lot of space to get through those
Nope.
screens.
Mm-mm.
He hits that hole and he's gone. But it does help that you have, David Edwards, a competent communicator on the line and a guy that's proven that he could play, with the tackles and the centers, extremely well in the run game. Um, I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. I think Travis is a perfect fit for this offense. And so, to have him and AK hopefully in that same backfield, um, I think it's just toys for Kellen that he stays up at night like designing plays, going, I could line up Travis here, put AK in motion in the slot here, flank him outside and hit this guy on the backside or hit Juwan through the middle because they're gonna be playing the run, so and that's where, a good offensive coordinator, schemes up plays that look like runs, but they're passes. and pass plays that look like pass plays that eventually turn to runs. And he has all the pieces that he needs to make his offense as successful as he wants it to be. I just hope that they would just hurry up and get this whole AK thing done
That's what
and
I was
get it
about to
over.
ask you about.
And, it's like you're in on him, you're not in on him. You want him to take a pay cut. You don't want to just come out and say what you want to say. I mean,
Well, he was
if they
there
wanted to
today
cut him, they
for
could have cut
media
him a long
day,
time.
and he'll be there for minicamp tomorrow.
Oh,
Apparently.
1%. I mean, he showed up just to let him know that, you know what, I'm all in, as long as you guys communicate with me.
And
They had to
actually,
communicate with his agent, you know. So what are you waiting on?
as we sit here and talk about AK, just now, Nick Underhill reporting that Cam Jordan is set to meet with the Saints about a new deal tomorrow at the start of minicamp.
There is no new deal. There's a deal on the table.
There's a deal on
Take
the table, but he wants a different one. So he
take
wants
it
to
or
meet
leave
about
it.
it.
They're
Bring him
not
back.
budget.
Bring him
They're
back.
not. Look, at this point in the game, he's exhausted his options. Like there's other teams out there that could have pounced a long time ago, but they're also going. You know what? You're like 38 years old. You know, this is like your 16th, 17th season. How much do you really have left when we got a couple of young guys we invested in? Do we want you just for experience? Probably not. And the Saints have put look, the salary cap is only so much. Like you can't pay guys, now to his credit, I see where Cam's coming from. He's taken pay cuts and helped you in the past.
And he just had a
And
double
now,
digit sack season.
yeah, he just wants you to kind of meet him halfway and say, look, I just want to play one more year and I want to play in this uniform. I don't want to play for another team. And instead of 6 million, can you give me 9 million? That's probably where they're at. They're probably like 2-3 million, in difference of a contract being done or not done. And the Saints are saying, look, we have 6 million on the table, take it or leave it.
I would
So
want nothing more than to see tomorrow that we agree to a new deal with Cam, because all that does is make us better. I mean,
one,
another edge rusher.
I don't think he's playing for anybody else. I
No,
think 100% they get a deal done.
yeah, and they need to
100,
do it with AK. Like you just need to
100.
figure out all these looming. You need to stop giving these dodgy answers. Just figure it out. These are two of your legends. You have to get it done. And you know what? It's fine because this is probably both of their last year wearing your uniform. Just figure it out.
I
Just
think
figure it out.
and it's easy. He's under contract. He's on your team. You haven't cut him pre June 1st, post June 1st. So what's so hard to figure out? If you wanted to
And he
maximize
said himself, "They have
return,
never approached me about a pay cut. I haven't been
they haven't.
approached by anybody."
They haven't. They haven't. They haven't. I don't know if they thought he was going to retire, but he still wants to play. He's under contract. He's on the team. His fingerprint still works. He still has a locker. What's that tell you?
Yeah.
So, okay, if you want to renegotiate the contract, call his agent and say, hey, we want to renegotiate. How about this and how about that? I don't think they did that. I think they were just waiting for Alvin to say, I'm going to give it up. Or I don't know what their game plan is. I don't know what they were thinking. But if they thought any idea of him moving on, they should have tried to trade him before the draft. They should have tried to trade him during the draft. They should have tried to maximize their return on him and send him somewhere he would have liked to go if you could have got something in return for him. And now it's like if you cut him, you're still on the hook for the money.
Yep.
So you don't save much money. So you put yourself in a corner.
Yep.
So there's no win situation for the Saints other than to ask him to take a restructured deal. And, I think he only makes your team better anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like
I agree.
he's old and he can't make your team better. I mean, he makes your team better just by being on it. So, and he came out and said point blank, I don't mind sharing the backfield. I've done that my whole career. I did it with Mark. I did it with Latavius. I did it with, actually, I think it's going to help both of us down the stretch. So I don't mind that. And they think, he's mad because, Travis came in and got a bag. He said, I'm happy for him.
Yeah.
Every time I see a running back get paid, I'm happy. So, you know, they just need to figure it out and get it over with and bury it and kind of move on. That's what they need to do. You know, moving forward.
Yeah. All right. I got a question for you. You pick three guys on the roster, three X factors. If they're good, this team is good. Not named Tyler Shuck. Who are you picking? Or three guys that you just hope can play like way better than you thought they would.
Well, obviously, number one is going to be Jordan Tyson. He's got to be good in order for us to be great. Like because I think him and Chris make each other better.
Mhm.
You can't zero in on one guy and eliminate that guy. I think if you double Tyson, Chris goes off, and if you double Chris, Tyson goes off. I think he has to be good. Like he can't be a guy that comes in and is not good, and I think he's gonna be good. That's on the offensive side. I think another guy on the offensive side that's gonna be under the radar good that nobody's saying anything, but I think Oscar Delp is a key cog in this whole offense, considering that the whole NFL is moving to 12 and 13 personnel. And when you put multiple tight ends on the field, you got to have somebody that can catch and run. And that boy can catch and he can run. Okay.
Yep.
So I think the other guy that needs to be good and great is Chase. I think Chase needs to kind of stay on that, you know, rising trajectory and surpass his last year totals because I think Chase makes the whole defense dominant. I think Chase is an X factor where whoever's on the other side is going to benefit from Chase being great.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's Cam, whether it's Grando, whether it's Chris Rump, whether it's Fidel Diggs, whether it's whoever it is, I think Chase ultimately makes that person better.
Yeah.
And he's got to take that next step, you know. And, you know, the only other person I would say, if I had to take another one, would be an interior defensive lineman. We got to have a disruptor
That's
right
fair.
up the middle. So, you know, whether
I'm
it's Christian,
gonna yeah.
whether it's Vernon Brockton,
Gottschall.
whether it's Gotcha, somebody's got to be a disruptor up the middle, you know, because you know what you have on the back end.
Yeah.
You know, we know what Justin Reed can do. We know what Kool-Aid can do. We know what Sanker can do. We know what Quincy Riley can do, and we know what
Well, I
uh,
pause there. We don't know Kool-Aid. If Kool-Aid apparently has looked really good in camp, and if Kool-Aid is solidified cornerback one, that is huge. That
I
is
think
huge.
I think Kool-Aid is ready to take on that.
Sanker obviously he just played his rookie year. We don't know his potential is really high. Um, Quincy Riley's another one. Like we just don't know how good he can be. We don't know if he even is gonna be really good or if he's. We don't know. Like you said, we know what Julian Blackman can do. We know what Justin Reed could do. We know what Isaac Yadam's made of. Um,
Yeah, but I'll put more money on Kool-Aid being good than Quincy Riley being legit. So, you
okay,
know,
yeah.
I think Kool-Aid,
You
first of
think
all,
Kool-Aid has a better chance to be a solidified cornerback one than Kool-Aid has a chance to be like a solid then Riley has a chance to be like just a solid starter.
yeah, 100%. I
Okay.
think Kool-Aid could be an elite corner. I think
Yeah.
Kool-Aid, I think he has that dog in him, number
Yeah.
one. I think he played at a college where he was one of the very few starting freshmen on the team, and he played against some dogs that were receivers on that team. So I don't think he's scared of the moment. Um, and I think he has the mentality to take the next step. I
Yep.
think he I think he wants that. You know what? And he has that mentality. You know what? You're gonna get beat. I mean, every corner gets beat. You're gonna get beat. But he has the mentality where he can just dump it, forget it, and move on to the next play. You know, I think he has it in him to take that Marshawn Lattimore leap and kind of say, you know what, this is my corner right here,
I hope
and
so.
put your best guy in front of me. I'll take him. You know, where Quincy is like, there wasn't much tape on him. He kind of was thrown in there, and he made some plays. I, I don't know what version of Quincy am I going to get this year?
Yeah.
Is it be, oh dang, Quincy's the real deal,
If you get a
or
solid Quincy, I say that's a win.
yeah, or damn, Quincy's gonna get picked on this week again.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. But I'm more putting my money in my stock in Kool-Aid than I would in Quincy.
Yeah.
Um, and it's the reason I think they brought back Isaac Yedem last year to kind of say, okay, we'll put you in because you have experience in case this rookie doesn't. But Quincy never he never relinquished the role. Um, so I mean, dream scenario is if Kool-Aid takes the next step and Quincy takes the next step, and now
Yeah, well,
you got
obviously.
guys, and obviously Sanka will fill that role, and then they all come calling, knocking on Mickey's door for a raise.
Yeah. Well,
So,
we'll double back to my three. You kind of alluded to Vernon Broughton. I'm not gonna say Broughton, but because we've never seen him play. But if Broughton is really good, that helps out a lot. But I think my first one, I'm gonna go Tally Fuaga. If Fuaga is really good, I at this point, I 100% I believe in Banks more steadily than I believe in Fuaga. Banks showed me more last year than Fuaga has the past 2 years. I think you need Fuaga to be good, and I truly believe he can be. Um, you
that would be
said,
the worries.
huh?
That would be the least of my worries.
Not
I
really.
think those two guys, they have a mental makeup, they have a dog mentality, and as long as they can stay healthy, I don't think I think they played against the best of the best and have proven, you know, that they can hold up.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
I
if
think
Eric McCoy can stay healthy, that would be big too. But
well, yeah, that's huge. I mean,
yeah,
but for everybody, I mean, if you lose
yeah,
your
that's
center,
true.
like a big drop off, I mean, that's part of the deal. It's like, I mean, the X factor in every team's, season is health. If you don't have health, then it goes sideways. So
You went Jordan Tyson. I'm gonna say it receiver. I'm gonna go with a guy who's also gotten some mini camp hype. Jalen Polk. If Jalen Polk is good, if Jalen Polk is good, if you have Olave who can just replicate what he did last year, and Tyson who can just meet his expectations, which are high because he's the 8th overall pick, and then you have Jalen Polk in the slot just carving it out, making his way, and maybe getting you 800 yards and 6 touchdowns.
yeah,
You're a good offense if Jalen Polk is getting you 800 yards or 700 yards and 6 touchdowns as your number three. That means you were a really good offense.
it means you're a great offense because I mean, ultimately, you know, uh, you got to be putting up 35, 40 points. If Jordan is 1,000 yard receiver, uh, Olave is 1,000 yard receiver. Uh, you got balls to go to your tight ends, which is you got both. You got Jawan and you got Oscar, 500, 600 yards. It's tough for that, slot receiver to kind of. You just want a slot receiver that's competent enough to make sure that he makes plays whenever the ball comes to him.
Yeah.
And occasionally takes one to the house.
Yep.
So, but they have tons of options, man. They got 14 receivers on the roster. In last minicamp, Trey Palmer was tearing it up.
Yeah.
He's another speedster. So, I mean, they got some tough cuts, and then you got Lance's brother. You still got guys from last year. Ken Austin is like showing up like nobody's business.
I thought of saying like
You
Jalen
know,
Pope
Ronnie
or Bryce
Bell.
Lance. But
You
yeah,
got Alford, the kid that's the #1 overall pick in the Canadian League. He's probably a practice squad guy anyway, just because he needs development. But you know what do you do with
well, you
Mason
got
Tips?
guys. You cut
You know,
them. You're gonna cut. You're gonna keep 6 guys, and
you're gonna
4 of
cut.
them are basically already guaranteed. So
You're gonna cut. You're gonna cut a lot of guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
my
So
last pick, um, Tyree Wilson. If Tyree Wilson, if you make that trade for Tyree Wilson and he plays like the pick he got drafted at, I think
yeah, I don't think
that's a
you need
huge
to be.
steal.
I don't think you need him to be like a Pro Bowl guy. You need him competent enough to get 4 or 5 sacks, six
I'm gonna
sacks.
say I think if you get 8 sacks from Tyree Wilson, that you made out like a bandit.
Yeah, I think that's worth the 5th round pick. You know, I thought you were going to go the other way because this is the guy I was almost said, was going to be a key, and whether I thought it was going to be Caden Ellis because he's replacing Demario, and that's a pivotal position
Yep.
that the whole defense go. Especially he's got the green dot, so he's letting everybody know what's coming. You got to be a cerebral type of player to know what that motion is doing and what that center is calling and what that running back is going to do to be able to call that defense so the guys behind you are not out of position. But yeah, I think Caden Ellis is one of those guys, and I think he's fit for the job. I
Well,
really
we've
do.
seen him in a Saints uniform before, so
And they're gonna use him as like an edge blitzer too, weak side linebacker blitzer.
yep.
You know, which is what he did last year, and rack up tackles. So yeah, that's I thought one of the guys that it's so many guys that have so much potential that we could say if this guy, if that guy,
100%.
if this guy, I mean, if Tyler Shuck takes a next step,
That's what you need.
it
I mean, that's the whole season hinges on that. Your
does
whole
what he
season hinges on
did
that.
in 17 games, what he did in 9, and sling it, you know, 20 yards, 30 yards, explosive plays. I don't know. You got yourself a good offense. So, and a great offense always makes a great defense. So if
You're
you're playing from ahead, and you're scoring points early, the defense is less stressed, and they can pin their ears and go after the quarterback.
yep.
We'll see.
We will see. Um, we can call it here. I think that was.
Through the whole thing without saying hell no.
uh, I mean, yeah. First episode. If you
Well,
watched,
test
we
one.
appreciate it. If you skip through, we appreciate it. If you watched the clip, we appreciate it. We will be back.
Yeah.
Be doing this
Content,
something.
real content, real facts, real stories, and positive outlooks. That's what it's about. Want you to enjoy the content, to be able to tune in the next time, because it's always going to be something fresh and new.
Yep.
Whether or not, we're still going to touch on that topic. And yeah, that's what we'll do from here on out.
You
Training
can even
camp is
watch if you're a Falcons fan.
they're watching. They'll be low key watching.
Man, I was teeing you up to say hell no.
Nah.
Uh,
All well. They all well. They
yeah.
low key Saints fans. I mean, They don't come to the city because they don't like New Orleans. They come to the city because they love the food. They love the people, whether they admit it or not. They just hate the Saints. Just because we always own their ass.
We
So
don't need to waste time talking about them. But thank you. We will be back talking about Saints mini camp and hopefully some NBA trades and more stuff going around the sporting world. Next time we'll probably be talking about the World Cup if you're interested in that. And we will see. We'll
Speaking
see
of it,
us
that's
next time.
right now.
Yeah, it
So
is.
time to catch the second half.
Yep. Peace.
Peace.